Good morning, federal employees. Welcome back to another great episode. It is great to spend some time with you this morning. I hope you're having a phenomenal day, and I hope I can be a helper in making you have an incredible day today. Because today was going to be a questions and answers episode where we go over some questions that you have as my audience about your federal benefits to get the most out of your federal benefits and to plan for retirement, to be prepared, to be confident, and to look to the future with hope, with optimism. That's what this is all about. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. We have an incredible community here who is trying and pushing to be prepared and have an incredible retirement. And if you're not new here, consider subscribing. And honestly, what are you waiting for, right? This is a great place to learn, and you don't want to miss any important episodes that give you some insight on something that you can do to improve your retirement. So without further ado, let's jump right in. This first question is a good one and applies to lots and lots of people. So they say, hey, can I use sick leave conversion for my 20-year bump for FERS? Okay, so that question may not be understandable for lots of people, but I know what they're referring to because I remember which video they were referencing. So basically, for those that don't know, if you have unused sick leave at retirement, that time can be added into your credible service for your pension purposes, okay? So, for example, your pension is increased depending on how much years of service you have. And let's say you have 6 months of sick leave saved up at the end of at the point that you retire, at the end of your career, right? So you retire, that 6 months worth of time is added in to your credible service for your pension purposes, okay? And what they're asking is, hey, I know that if you're age 62 and you have at least 20 years of service, I know that you can get a 10% bonus to your pension, right? If you're new here, you may not have heard that. If you retire as a traditional FERS employee at age 62 or later with at least 20 years of service, you can get 10% more every single year from your pension, which is a huge deal. They were asking us, hey, this sick leave, when the unused sick leave kind of converts over into credible service, can it bump me up to be eligible for that 10% bonus, right? And the short answer is yes, it can. OPM has made it clear. They wrote a letter in 2018 that says, hey, you can do this, okay? But the confusion comes into play, and I know why this gentleman or lady is asking this question, because it's confusing. Because unused sick leave actually cannot be used to make you eligible to retire with an immediate retirement, okay? So that's where it gets a little sticky. So for example, let's say this federal employee was age 60, okay? And they had 19 years of service and 6 months, let's say. So, and we know that to be eligible for an immediate retirement as a traditional FERS employee, at age 60, you need 20 years of service. So they're actually lacking 6 months, right? And so in that case, they would not be able to get their unused sick leave to come in and make them eligible to retire. Now, if they were already eligible to retire, they'd retire, and then that sick leave would come in and actually increase their pension a little more, right? So sick leave cannot be used to be eligible to retire. But once you're eligible, it can push your pension up even more. So the reason it gets confusing is this 10% bonus that you get at age 62 and 20 is not a type of retirement. It's just kind of a bonus you get for working that long with that many years of service. And so to clarify, to kind of summarize this whole question is, let's say you're age 62 and you have 19 years of service in 6 months. You're already eligible to retire because at age 62 you only need 5 years of service to retire. So they're eligible to retire. That's not the question. The question is, hey, I have 6 months worth of sick leave. If I retire and that gets converted over to time, does it push me up to 20 years and do I get that bonus? And the answer is yes, you do. You do. So again, unused sick leave cannot be used to be eligible to retire, but if you're already eligible to retire, then it can be used to increase your pension and, maybe push you up to the 20 years of service at 62, if your numbers work out that way, right? If you're close enough and you have enough unused sick leave to push you up. So that's a great question, and honestly, I'm sure a lot of people were thinking about that as well. So, That's question number 1. But question number 2 is, I think, even more interesting, honestly. So someone asked me this not too long ago. They said, hey, how can cryptocurrency be part of my federal portfolio? Thank you. Okay, great question. And I know I've gotten these questions quite a bit. As you can imagine, as in my job as a financial planner and investment guy, and I deal with all this stuff all the time. So I get questions all the time, like, hey, what about Bitcoin? What about Dogecoin? All these things, people want to get my thoughts on what role they play when it comes to planning for things like retirement, right? That's a great question. So let me give you my opinion, okay? And I'm sure there's lots of opinions out there on the internet, but this is my opinion. So whenever a client that I'm working with comes to me and they really, really like or are, have a very preferential treatment to some sort of investment, whether it's, let's say, Apple stock or Amazon stock or Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general, and they say, hey, I really like this stuff, I want to invest in it, I say, great, that's awesome, let's do that. But I want to make sure that your portfolio is also diversified enough so that you aren't putting your retirement up to risks that you shouldn't be, right? And so generally what that looks like is I say, hey, let's come up with a plan where regardless of what Bitcoin does, regardless of what Amazon stock does, that your retirement is going to be taken care of, right? And that you have a diversified portfolio, meaning invested in lots of different things, so that if one of them goes bankrupt, if one of them really struggles, you're going to be okay, right? Let's come up with a plan that does that. And if you have extra resources and you want to invest in, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency or Amazon stock or what, I say, great. That's great. Do it. Go for it. And let's say they do super well and you make a bunch of money. Awesome, right? But what if they don't, right? What if cryptocurrency actually, doesn't pan out like some people think? And maybe it will. I'm not speculating on what cryptocurrency is going to be or not going to be. All I know is right now it's very new. It's very new, and I'm not willing to risk my client's retirement on something that is not diversified and is exposing them to too much risk than they are able to afford in retirement, right? So that's my thoughts. Cryptocurrency or investing in one specific thing is not necessarily a terrible idea, although there's lots of different opinions on cryptocurrency, right? And I'm not speculating on whether you should invest in cryptocurrency or not. All I'm saying is, hey, come up with a plan that your retirement is going to be taken care of, you're going to be okay, your spouse is going to be okay, all the goals, all the things that you want to do in retirement are going to be there. They're set, right? And that's going to be set with a diversified portfolio. That makes sense for you. Once you have that in place, hey, knock yourself out. That's great. I think it's awesome to invest in things and to things like that, but I definitely want to make sure the core of your retirement is going to be taken care of, and above and beyond that, no problem. Right. So those are my thoughts. And some people are like, wow, that's lame. That's whatever. You can call me whatever you want. But when I'm responsible for my client's retirement, I'm not messing around with that. I'm not messing around. I'm going to give advice that I'm confident in and that I know will give them the highest probability of having an incredible retirement. Right? That's my deal. And if I feel like something that's going to hurt their chances of having the retirement that they want, I can't support it, right? And I'm not saying I can't support cryptocurrency. I'm just saying you want to make sure that you have a plan that no matter what Bitcoin does, or no matter what these things, individual little things do, that you're going to be okay. That's the most important part. And if you have a plan that does that, awesome. That's great. So, those are my thoughts. Those are the questions for today. And again, if you have any questions, there's a link in the description below. Send me questions that you have, and I'll do my best to answer as many as I possibly can. And until next time, I will see you next time.